I got good news for everybody. From American Military News, 18,000 Border Patrol agents support Texas and blast the Biden administration. A statement released Thursday by the NBPC, which is the official union of over 18,000 Customs and Border Protection employees, pushed back against what the union described as fake news reports that the Border Patrol agents would be arresting Texas National Guardsmen at the border. Quote, rank and file BP agents are not going to start arresting Texas National Guard members for following their lawful orders. That's fake news. The Texas National Guard and rank and file BP agents work together and respect each other's jobs, period. If Texas National Guard members have lawful orders, then they have to carry out those orders. So this is great. And I think it shows the emperor has no clothes. Joe Biden is impotent here. I don't know that I believe it completely. Things are always not what they seem. It may be that the Customs and Border Patrol agents are, no, we're not going to do any of that stuff. They're doing lawful orders. But behind the scenes, CBP is just saying, say this, avoid conflict, or the union is avoid the conflict, but try and keep doing your job. I want to be optimistic. Joe Biden says, go fight. CBP says, we're not going to fight over this. Texas National Guard, they're in the right. No conflict. We move on. I think it's a good thing because, as I've said before, the win condition for the left is a civil war starting, not fighting a civil war and winning. So I want to give a shout out to all the, you know what I love? These leftists who love putting my name in their YouTube videos and then arguing something I've never been in favor of. They're like, Tim Pool's arguing about civil war, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I have literally said your win condition is starting a civil war and we want to avoid it at all costs. So thank you and have a nice day. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Good news?
Yeah, I know when I was with Carrie Lake at her Senate announcement, she shared letters. She read one with me from a guy who was working Border Patrol who's like, this place is defunct. They're not running this place properly. We need help. I shared that one letter in the last Carrie Lake article I wrote for Scanner. So like people obviously are going against the administration. They have to because they see just so much fentanyl pouring over that border. It's terrifying.
Wasn't there like some big story where someone died from fentanyl-laced pot recently?
I didn't see it.
I can't remember exactly what the story was. I just know that it came up because someone was asking me about it and like, how does these things happen? I'm like, it sounds like they're trying to kill people by doing it.
I believe. Yeah. I believe they are.
I'm blanking on who it was, but it's a famous celebrity son.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that
the guy from Pawn Stars, right?
Yeah. Pawn Stars.
Oh, that's
Pawn
what it
Stars.
was.
He said, and he literally blamed the border.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
At Carrie Lake's announcement, she filled the stage with parents who lost children to fentanyl in various ways, whether it was like, and bring it back to Prince really quick. People forget Prince was on different pain meds. Someone gave him a counterfeit pill that was fentanyl, and that's what
Same
killed
with
him.
Mac Miller, right?
Yes,
Didn't Mac Miller
supposedly.
die?
I'm not sure if it was fentanyl with Mac Miller or something else, but
I don't know either,
I know with Prince it was. It's everywhere. It's prevalent, and no one's safe. Not Prince, and not the people in these border towns and the rest of this country.
Des Dickerson, who was Prince's guitar player in the Revolution, he's the guy that wore the kamikaze headband in 1999, sang some of the song. You know the song.
Yes.
Well, Des has been a good friend of mine for over 30 years, and he told me absolutely 100% that Prince, that was an accident. This was not something that Prince did to himself by.
Oh yeah, I believe that.
Yeah,
and they never caught the person who gave him the counterfeit. Right. We know Michael Jackson was killed by a doctor. And he spent 2 years in jail. But Prince's, whoever gave him the counterfeit drug that was fentanyl, never
Mac
caught
Miller, Mac Miller was fentanyl, and they put whoever gave it to him in jail as well. It's weird. I mean, I feel like the obvious answer is close the border, but people have been so averse to it for so long, we're really feeling the consequence of it now.
I feel like it's another easy attack vector for China.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Pot laced with fentanyl.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of young people die.
I mean, isn't someone from the Biden administration is meeting with a representative from China this week, I'm pretty sure. This happened once before. Earlier this year, Biden met with Xi Jinping in San Francisco, I think. And they were like, so tell us that you'll stop, because a lot of stuff that goes into fentanyl is manufactured in China and shipped to Mexico and comes across the border. And he was like, so please tell us you'll stop that. And they were like, we'll see. We'll think about it. We'll work with you. Like the fact that we couldn't even get China to commit to being like, okay, fine, we'll stop shipping fentanyl. And we're like, we're in a weak position because we made our border weak. And by the way, Chinese people will fly to both South America and to Canada to then traverse into America through the border. Like we're bad on both sides, right? Yep. Like the U.S.-Mexico border has been weak for a long time, and we're seeing the effect of it now. But I think it's also important to start talking about what's happening on the northern border, where they are seeing an and a rise in illegal crossings. And especially during this time of year, it's incredibly dangerous for both the border forces that are out there and the people who are crossing, because you can actually freeze to death.
Right. I appreciate that you bring that up, the Canadian on the cast bringing that up. Thank you very much.
Look, team, Canada's important too. It hangs out there, but not all Canada is Justin Trudeau's Canada.
I have watched with my own eyes in real time fentanyl being tracked by United States Department of the Military, private contractors from China. I've actually seen it on the computer screen being tracked, and yet when it gets to Mexico, somehow it makes it across.
Is this like some Operation Fast and Furious situation? Like we know where it is, we're tracking it, and then it just backfires?
It's a sincere desire to stop it, but once it arrives in Mexico, then it breaks down from there.
Crazy. The cartels are running some of those border towns. I mean, the amount of fentanyl is millions of pounds at one of those places. I forget what town it was, maybe near Tucson, but it's apocalyptic how much fentanyl is coming through.
Yeah, and the idea that China doesn't know about this when they have like one of the most extensive surveillance states in the world, they're saying, "Oh, we don't know where it's coming from. We have no idea who's making this." Sorry, guys.
That's just the fentanyl they're catching at the border.
Right,
There's so much coming through.
I'm having a real hard time deciding whether I'm more afraid of what's happening in the Middle East right now. Are we going to have World War III, or about what's going on at the border? I'm still struggling between the two.
I think we should put the border first. I mean, that's my personal opinion, right? Like,
as an American,
I can't say everything that's going to happen abroad, but I can say it is crazy to me that we aren't all like immediately secure the border. It's crazy to me that Texas is saying, or the federal government is saying, Texas, take that razor wire out so people swim across the Rio Grande rather than go through a legal port of entry while they're trying to illegally enter this country. Like, these are things that are within our control, and we're actively saying, but look over there. Should we get involved over there? Yeah. Why don't we shut our own door? I mean, I've said this before a couple times on the show. We should lock our door before we say, by the way, this neighborhood is dangerous. Like, if the world's a dangerous place right now, why aren't we shoring up resources at home?
But to Tim's point earlier, it's because the military-industrial complex wants to have the war over there because they can then play with all of their big toys. They can't play with their big toys.
Well, why don't they suggest deploying troops to the border, right? I mean, maybe it wouldn't give you the paycheck that it would if you were engaged internationally, but at least then you would still have some income coming through. Not that you should be in support of the military-industrial conflict, but I'm just saying they could make money off of anything if they make it look like it's worth deploying our troops. They just don't.
Right. But our troops should be at the border.
Of
That's
course.
exactly where they should be. They shouldn't be over there in Jordan in a limited deployment, being cannon fodder for the Lindsey Grahams and of the world.
I'm afraid you saying big toys overseas is going to give some people really bad ideas of using them on the border at some point, but they won't because they don't care about the border. Like, what are they going to do to these people at some point? Or they're turning on us.
Yeah, these are like our honorary citizens now. Like these people that are coming across the border that are given like Thanksgiving in Chicago, they're given like Thanksgiving meals and stuff, and they're like just random families, and it's like, well,
don't ever try to migrate here legally, which I know your family's had experience, my family's had experience with this. Like, anyone who has had to do it, you guys have to figure it out on your own. But if you come illegally, we'll give you support.
The border in Yuma, watching the border patrol sit at the wall, waiting with luggage tags and bottles of water and their van to take the people to HQ, where if they have a number to someone in the States and that person picks up, they will fly you there for free, is insane. Totally insane stuff. And
watching these individuals come across, and you see the piles of the wristbands. You've seen those, and the different colors. Yeah. See that they are the cartel's product, and that's what those wristbands represent. And when they reach different transfer stations, they get a new colored wristband.
But it's cool. We'll continue to let the cartel treat humans like products. We'll promote human smuggling by keeping our border open so that Joe Biden can say, well, Trump is the one that closed the border and I'm the one who opened it. And aren't I a better person for that? When actually you're encouraging horrible atrocities to happen to, I'm sure there are some very desperate people who think this is the right path forward. I think there are also people who just know I can have an advantageous life if I illegally cross into America. Right. This whole system is crazy, and yet we're supposed to pretend that Democrats are supporting something good by saying, no, border restrictions are somehow bad. That seems crazy.
It's another overcompensation. Even though Obama was the one, I believe, who had people in cages, they say it was Trump. So he's got to overcompensate for the Trump cage. But by doing that, he's just opened everything up.
Well, completely. Humans can be a product here, but they're going to be cannon fodder over there, and that's the conflict that we're looking at.
Do you feel like during your time dabbling in journalism, the conversation around illegal immigration has changed very much, or do you feel like we're just more amplified on positions that parties already held?
It's more amplified, and I'm one of those libertarians who does not believe in open borders because we live in a dangerous world.
Right.
I have a utopian libertarian ideal. If I take the test, I'm a full-on anarchist, right? Except for one thing: that's not the world in which we live.
Right.
That's the world we want. I wish we could live in that world, but we don't. So my attitude has not changed.
Yeah.
And that I had that attitude.
What about other people who kind of share your values? Do you feel like other libertarians have moved to a more closed border position?
Some have, but the idealistic of those who are,
purists in some way.
Right.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.